Alright, so today we're going to do dividing decimals, and you might see the problem start off like this, 13 and 8 tenths divided by 5. So I'm just going to send it into here. That would be 13 and 8 tenths divided by 5. How many times can 5 go into 13 and 8 tenths? Well, when I see it like this, and you have a whole number for your divisor, then you're just going to take the number in your dividend. You're going to bring that straight up, and I just do division completely the way I would have before. 5 goes into 13 twice. 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract, I get 3. Then I bring down my 8. 5 goes into 38. 7 times 5 is 35. Subtract. One thing I always like to do after I subtract is to check. I check to see what I subtracted. Is it less than my divisor? And 3 is less than 5, so I'm good to continue. In this case, I have a remainder, and I don't want to put a remainder up here, so I'm going to add another 0. This would be an equivalent number, equivalent decimal. 5 goes into 30. 6 times 5 is 30. So I have nothing left. So my answer here is 2 76/100. A different type of problem that you maybe will come across with decimals. Maybe you have something, let's just say like this, 7/8, and you're asked, change that into a decimal. Well, that would equal out to 7 divided by 8, which I would set up as 7 divided by 8. Now 8 can't go into 7, right? So I'm going to put a 0. Just like if you had a decimal remainder, I'm going to write an equivalent number to 7. So I'm going to say, I'm just putting 3 zeros. You can put as many zeros as you need to. And then I do the exact same thing. I have a whole number in my divisor, so I can bring this straight up. 8's going to go into 78 times to give me 64. Subtract, and I get 6. And yes, this 6 is smaller than the 8, so I can move forward. After you subtract, you want to check and then bring down. 8 goes into there 7 times to give me 56. And I subtract, and I get 4. 8 goes into 45 times. Here's my answer. Multiply, I get 40, and nothing left. Now there's one more type of problem, and I'm going to do 2 of them for you. So let's say I had a problem that was like, okay, let's say I had a problem that was like this, right? 150 75/100 divided by 2.5. If I had this, then I have a decimal now in my divisor, so I have to move it over one space. That's like multiplying it by 10. So I would have to do the same thing over here, which is actually like multiplying it by 10. So now my decimal goes here, and I bring it straight up. My new problem, what this is equal to, an equivalent problem, be 1507 tenths. You could just work it from here, or you could rewrite it. 25 is going to go into 150 6 times to give me 150. Subtract 0, I'm good. Bring down, 25 goes into 7 0 times. Bring that decimal straight up. Since it goes in 0 times, I can bring down the next number. 25 is going into 75 3 times. 3 times 25 is 75. So recapping this, okay, if I move this decimal 1 time, I will move this 1 time. The number of times you move it in your divisor is the same number of times you move it in your dividend. I'm going to set one more up, and I'll have you try and solve it. So let's say here I had, my divisor was we'll say that's 23 hundredths, and the other number was here 6 and 946 thousandths. Then I would take this number and I would move it twice, which would be like multiplying by 100, and I would have to move this one twice and then bring it straight up. The number of times you move it in the divisor is the number of times you move it in the dividend.